Good morning, everybody, or whatever time it is when you watch this. Either way, thank you for watching this stream. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it, trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. So please subscribe. I'm going to work on a library called AutoDeconstruct, and I'll explain what that is in a moment. But yesterday I did a stream where I wanted to add a new analyzer for calling new GUID, the constructor on it. And long story short, when I was adding, where is this? Here, creating a dictionary and passing it to diagnostic create on the other side of the code fix, I was assuming it would be there, and it wasn't. And it was giving errors because the key wasn't found. And I'm like, what's going on here? Well, I looked because I didn't want to provide this code fix if you were on .NET 8, and I wanted it only to be there for .NET 9 because that's where the API actually exists. What I've realized is you have to be explicit to make sure you're passing it into the properties parameter. If you don't do that, there is an overload of diagnostic create. Let's see if I can get those up. That I believe, which one is it? I think it might be this one. There's one that it thinks it's passing it into. Well, I think it actually thinks you're passing it into params or something like that. It's odd, but it was not actually passing them into properties. And so by saying, no, explicitly pass it into properties, then it worked. And all tests pass and everything's good. And in fact, if I show real quick the scenarios project and pop up a scenario with calling new GUID, these should all fail. And if I do the code fix, you can see there's now add create version 7. So great, that would take care of the problem. But the issue, well, not the issue, but the nice thing too is if I go up here and say, let's actually target .NET 8, which is still a valid supported one, it automatically updates. So now you see that it doesn't offer that as an option. So cool, all very cool. So that's all taken care of now. And I think I've committed everything. Yep, so that's good. I'm going to now start some music here, just to have it going in the background. And we're going to move on to another library that I have, a source generator library that I have called AutoDeconstruct. And what this source generator library does is it basically says, look through all the types in a project that you have AutoDeconstruct referenced as a package, and add a deconstruct method to it. So a deconstruct method basically has all these parameters that are out parameters, and you can use them with withers to construct a new object. So you can deconstruct an object out and get its values, and then you can basically use that to reconstruct an object, more or less. So the thing with this library is that I was not using what's called for attribute with metadata name. I mentioned this briefly in the last stream. So if you look at the generator, it's using create syntax provider. And what you should be using is something called for attribute with metadata name. Okay. So what I'm going to be doing, trying to do in this stream, at least make some progress on it, is zoom in a little bit here. Add this thing called an attribute, AutoDeconstruct attribute, that you can put on the assembly and the type. And you can only do it once. So if you put it at the assembly level, I'll do what I'm doing right now, which is to find all of the types to see if I could actually add a deconstruct method. Or if you put it on a type, then I will just do it for that type. Okay. And the way that all this incremental generator works is that I'll be creating down here something called a type symbol model. That's just my type that has all the information that I need to then generate code down below here. Okay. So that should work. That should give us what I'm looking for, and following what is basically the quote-unquote right way to write a source generator. which is to use attributes. The one thing I noticed yesterday is there's a slight hiccup because I forgot. It's not a hiccup. It's just something I got to be aware of. Is that I already have a no AutoDeconstruct attribute on, because the way this was working right now is it was saying do it for every type in your project. Whereas this said, but I don't want it to be done in this one. Just leave it alone for whatever reason. Okay. I still need to honor this because this is in there. So maybe what you want to do is you do want to do it for the entire assembly. So you'll put that new attribute on the assembly, but then you'll have these on types. And if you have them on types, then those types will be ignored, which shouldn't be a big deal. I just forgot that I already had this in there. So anyway, but if anybody's watching and you don't know what source generators are, you don't know what I'm doing or what I'm coding, just make a comment, ask, and I'll be happy to try to answer it as best as I can. This is all based on stuff in .NET, specifically C# in the compiler, where you have this compiler API where you can do all sorts of things, typically like analyzers, code fixes, source generators, refactorings. You can build tools that do all sorts of analysis on your code or multiple repositories or whatever you want to do. You know, you can do a whole bunch of analysis on your code using the code that the compiler uses itself to analyze C# code. So pretty nice stuff. All right, so I already got my attribute made. One of the first things I want to do is kind of update some stuff here. So we're in 2025. I've got my rocks project up here. This is a mocking library for .NET, except to use the source generators. So I kind of want to follow what I'm doing here. So I'm going to have to do a little bit of stuff here. This manage package version centrally, that's something I'm now going to have to add a file, and you'll see what it does in a moment. But basically puts all the versions of all the packages that you have in all the projects in a solution in one place. So that way you don't have projects that may be out of sync. You can always override it in a project and explicitly say, I want to target this version of a package. Sorry, it took me a second to realize what I wanted to say there. I should really make this 2. I'm going to say 1 right now, but I'm debating I should make that 2. Okay. Do I have nullable? I'm going to skip this NuGet audit stuff here for just a second. I think everything else is correct. Now, what I also need to do is say this, and actually, let's do this manually because it's a little bit easier to do. This is one thing I wish. I like the central package management feature, but what I don't like is it doesn't seem like it's supported, but I don't see like project templates supporting it to say that's what I'm actually going to do for you. And so you kind of have to get it set up yourself once, but once you do it, it just works. So, okay, so it's rocks. Deconstruct source. We'll put that there. And then I should also look at using the new solution format. And of course, this is all going to change because we do not have all these projects or packages listed here. If I go into here, let's look at what we're doing in rocks. We don't have to worry about unsafe blocks. Description. We want to do embedded. I don't like the snupkeg. Approach anymore. I should make an icon. I don't know how I would make an icon. I've been trying to do like this blue and white motif that I used to have on my website along with orange, but I don't know what I would do for AutoDeconstruct. I don't know, but I should make an icon for this. Okay. You have package tags, package version, publish repository, namespace. Let's take that out. Okay, so now here's where things change. So we want to do this, and then we want to put that here, except we have to say package version. And we just keep the version here. The private asset will be done now here. And then same thing for this. So again, this, I don't know of a way to automate this. I wish there was, but I am not aware of one. You don't need to do this anymore, source link. I think that just works automatically. We don't need to include analyzers anymore. The test project, we're going to have to update that too, because this is no longer valid. We're going to have to get that one updated, but we'll get just the project to build first, and then I'll come back to this one. Integration tests. Yeah, we'll have to come back to that one as well. Save. Okay. So I'm going to close this, save it, and then bring it up again, just so that hopefully now it picks up that I'm doing the central package management and everything's there. Let's actually, I'm going to take that back. Let's actually, no. We want to do this. And then we also have NUnit analyzers, and this. So we can do that. Except we need well, I don't know what keystroke I don't know what keystroke that is that I did there, and it's annoying. Okay, we got that. But we need the analyzers. We got C# and common, right? No, we don't. We need analyzers and testing. Okay. And then also common, I believe. Okay. I believe that covers all these. Do we have test? No, we don't have test. Okay. Now I think we got everything there. So now we take these off. This one off. That one off, and this one off. Okay. So let's see if we can say now manage. Let's see what we want to update. Sure. Why you is this showing vulnerable? Yeah, I don't know why it does this. They're transitive packages, but I don't know if they actually show you like what it's actually coming from. Hopefully by updating, we'll clear that out. Nope, of course we don't. Of course we don't. Did I have to for rocks include those? No, I don't. We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. All right, so AutoDeconstruct. We want to add an AutoDeconstruct attribute. And we want it to target either, yeah, it's not like a type, it's assembly or a class or a structure and interface. And we'll keep those there. So we got that. Cool. So now what I want to do is, what are you complaining about here? Oh yeah, that. Okay. I should have that in the rocks project. Maybe I missed those. Yes, I did. Do I have those in this one as well? I don't know. I learn as I go along, and I do. There. Okay, so now you should shut up. But now you're probably going to come in and... Of course. I can make that internal. Right. And I also think I put internals visible to those. Okay, so let's make this internal because then we don't have to document it. And do we do not have a shared. Let's do that. Come over here, we'll grab these, do that, and we'll say this is shared to AutoDeconstruct test. I kind of, that one was nice. That little helper to say, I know what you want to put in here, so let's try to get the name of the project correctly there. That's nice. Okay. So now what we want to do is basically ignore all this right now. Let's come back to rocks and come here. And what we want to do is I don't know why I do these as local methods. I don't think I really care about that. Because we just turn around and we call this, right? Oh, I think I did it because I have to do it twice here. So we don't have to worry about that here. So we can say our types is equal to context, syntax provider, for attribute with metadata name. And in this case, all we care about is the AutoDeconstruct one. The no AutoDeconstruct is only for the case where you are saying, I don't want a type generated. So we'll say this is AutoDeconstruct dot that. Okay, I think that's... Yeah, of course, it's going to say we're not returning anything. Oh, and we also want to say that what we're going to return here is... This should be... Yeah, incremental values provider for those. Okay, cool. Now we just have to implement it. So, what do we want to do right now? When we do it in rocks, they're all at the assembly level. And so we're going to get the attribute but we need to know what it's targeting and what it's is it containing type or declaring. I think it's declaring symbol, because we want to see if it's an assembly or a type. And so we want to have var types is equal to what we're doing here, new list of type symbol models. And what we would eventually do is we're going to say return types. Except close but way off. So we do that. Oh, and then we got this little thing down here. Okay, what's the problem here? We're returning that. Do I have to do this now? There, okay. Now it knows what it's supposed to return, which is actually okay, fine. Okay, cool. All right. So then we do this. Is the attribute on the assembly or a type? So we get the attribute class. To get the entire list of attributes, use I symbol get attributes. Oh. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. This thing. So we don't need this yet. We can say here, if context is I assembly symbol, then we're going to do one thing. Else we know that it's just we'll say type symbol for now. It might end up having to be a name type symbol, but we shall see. And I guess there's a rule here. What happens if you put, because there's no way we could, okay, wow, 5 thoughts just went barreling through my head. What happens if you put AutoDeconstruct and no AutoDeconstruct on the same type? That doesn't make any sense. So maybe one of the things here, let's get some notes together. Make an analyzer to yell at the developer if AutoDeconstruct and no AutoDeconstruct exist on the same type. I can get to that later. That's a to-do. And you can do that. You can put analyzers in source generator projects. We do that in Rocks. There is Rocks Analyzer. And so this is actually looking for some cases to say, yeah, it depends on the analysis of the mock model, but if we see that we have